Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today it's going to be a bit of an overview video, so I'm going to be talking through this. You can probably see from the title, as I always say, but this is one of my favorite replicas at the moment. Just a disclosure, this is not real. It is a Airsoft Replica, it's a toy, and this is actually made by a company called APFG. So I thought today actually I would just talk through this because it is one of my favorite things to play with at the moment. Something I wasn't really expecting, but it's something which I think is overlooked or something that a lot of people haven't tried. It's not your standard TMMWS that a lot of people go for, and I think it's a bit different but still a bit similar. So I wanted to go through kind of what I've done to it on my build and why I like this thing so much. So as I said, this is the APFG MPX K. So I believe they do a different version of the MPX, which isn't the K version. It's an 8-inch barrel length. So this actual handguard goes up quite a bit. This does not normally come with all of the attachments that you see. So the base kind of model, I haven't kind of broken it down, but I'll kind of give you an idea. There is no stock included on it. There is no suppressor included with it. It has a hand guard that is a similar length to this, but this has actually been changed. So if you can imagine, no sight, no stock on it, no suppressor on it. It's kind of coming in that package, which is why you can kind of see it's called a K, very similar, to the MP5K shortened kind of version. But as I said, I'm really obsessed with this thing. And it is, as I said, a company called APFG who make it. The company APFG, as I've gone through actually on my channel before a few times, it is a subsidiary, we think, of VFC. Now, the reason that they've changed their name to APFG, or this is what we suspect, is they actually had the license to make a lot of SIG products. And I think they actually had a bad run of products that came through as AEGs that SIG were not happy with. So they actually took the licensing away, I believe. And they had manufactured a lot of the gas blowback rifles, the SIG ones, already. And so they continue to sell them under that name. It has no SIG trademarks on it. But they've kind of apparently done a subsidiary name called APFG, so if they get into a lawsuit, it's not VFC, but a lot of the internals, it has some VFC branding on the inside, so unless it's some company that's just bought a load of VFC parts and decided to put them in with the identical kind of gas systems, this is really a VFC product, but they have called it an APFG. Now, one of the great things about this is the price. Now, gas blowbacks, obviously, if you're not aware, are normally more expensive than your AEGs are, of kind of comparable finish and level, and this one comes in at $365. Now, you may say that's still a lot of money, which it is, and obviously it's a lot less material because this is smaller than your standard, AR base or, AK base that, you may be looking at from a similar retailer. But I think for $365, you're getting a lot for this, for not a huge price when it comes to gas blowback. Now, the quality of this is really, really good. One thing I actually really like about this as well are these, which are the gas blowback magazines. They're incredibly light, really, really light magazines, and it feels like very well built. I think it must be kind of an aluminium base. You can see there's some scratching that's kind of occurred on this, but it's very solidly, it feels very solid when you feel it. It does have your plastic router lips, as you'd expect, or your feed lips, sorry. You have a kind of rubberized-ish plastic base, so I hope when you drop it, it's not going to do too much damage. And the other thing is your fill valve is actually back here. So the problem I get sometimes with gas blowbacks is if you drop the magazines, which I would not recommend, but sometimes if you do that, obviously if the valve is at the bottom here, the chances of it getting damaged, leaking gas is a lot higher. And actually this is kind of like an inset valve there, fill valve, and the inset knocker there as well. So I hope, and I haven't actually broken one of these, but it's lightweight, it feels really solidly built, and they do cost a bit of money at $45, but when you think you're probably spending that on a standard Glock magazine, this is actually one from a GHM9, but that is going to be a similar price, and you're kind of getting more for it. This is also 30 rounds, sometimes with a an SMG PDW based gas blowback, you're getting maybe a 45 round mag, so you've only got 30 rounds of this. But because they're so light and they're so thin, I'm finding that I've actually got a chest rig that I'm using at the moment, which actually has, I think, 5 different spaces along here, which is a similar diameter to something like that, which is for, you know, your M4 AR based mags. So you can carry quite a lot of these, and those are 30 rounds, these are 30 rounds. So I really like these. They are proprietary, so you're not going to be able to use, I mean, there's not many kind of MPX based gas blowback replicas out there, but you are going to have to get a load of new mags for this. So even though this is 365, you know, you're probably going to want, I don't know, 5-6 mags minimum. I've actually got more than that. So if you're getting 10 mags, say, which is something you can definitely carry, and if you're using a gas blowback in a game, you are going to be out like your AEG capacity, you know, some of those mags are 100 to 200 rounds. So you're probably, if you don't want to get completely outgunned in a firefight, going to want to have quite a few of these. So if you've got 10 of those, you're spending $450, and that's more than the actual price of the replica. So if you're thinking about buying it after this video, that's something to bear in mind, is 365 is not just the price you're going to be paying for this. It's going to be considerably more because you're having to buy those gas mags. You're also having to run them on gas, so it's not like a LiPo battery that you're filling up. And obviously you're using the BBs, which you would be in any kind of situation with an Airsoft Replica, but they're more expensive to run, as anyone who uses gas blowbacks, probably most people watching this video will realize, you know, so just bear that in mind. Now, I kind of will give you guys a close-up of this. As you can see, there are no trades on this, which for me is quite a bit of a letdown. I actually like to play more of a milsim style type of game, and I think this is something which, you know, a milsim player is going to play more of. So having the SIG trades on here, which, sorry, if I haven't gone through it, it is a Sig Sauer replica. You know, it's a copy of a Sig Sauer MPX-K. I would really appreciate having that. Now you can, you know, change that. You can, if you buy this from a company called Octagon Airsoft in Hong Kong, I think for about $15, they'll laser etch the trades onto here for you. You've got to be a bit careful with customs and getting them across the border, because obviously you're kind of having something which is not licensed trades on here, so it could get stopped. But it's something to bear in mind, is you don't necessarily have to have this without trades. If you buy it from the right retailer, or when you've got it, you go to somewhere that can do laser etching, you could have that put on here. But that's something to bear in mind, is this is not going to look 100% realistic when you get it. So I've done quite a lot of customization with this. The reason that I love this so much, or I would say the main reason, is actually the trigger in this thing. Now, I think VFC gas blowbacks generally have very good triggers, or from what I've seen and what I've experienced so far, they have very good triggers. But this thing is something special to me. If you have a friend who has one of these, ask to try it, and not even dry fire it, just actually pull the trigger. And I'll show you what that's like, but I think it's going to be quite hard to get that across on camera. It is, I think, different from some of the other APFG or VFC triggers that I've tried. I've actually just recently got a Spear LT, APFG Spear LT, and the trigger's really good on that, but it isn't as good as this. I have to say, I think this has, I'll show you, but I think it has more of a break on it, which is just, it's just so satisfying. So if I rack the action, it's not on safe here. If I rack the action, I'll give you the, it's going to be really hard to get that across, but it is literally on the wall straight away. And it's kind of a hard-ish trigger pull, and it's super short. There's George. If you watch my content for a long time, you probably recognize this guy. I haven't had him in videos for a long time, but I used to have him always in the unboxing videos I started doing on this channel. Hi George, thanks for being here. He's probably going to hate it when I test fire this for you guys, which I'm going to do in a little bit. But this is what I really love about this. I have not changed the trigger. This is how it comes, and it is reset, you're on the wall. And I think for a PDW, something like this, it's so snappy. So I've used it in a couple of indoor games and some outdoor games as well. Performance on the outdoor is actually really, really good. Normally, if I'm looking at outdoor games, normally the ranges are going to be a lot further. So I would normally go for something a little bit longer. I have an MWS Mark 18, which I absolutely love. And I have to say, this might be, in line with that. You know, that's my baby. That's the thing that I got first as my kind of gas blowback. And this might be kind of at the same level as that was, which is a crazy thing to say. But this is something that I have spent a lot of money on. I decided to buy this for 365, and I've spent a lot more money on it in terms of just the attachments on it than the actual gun is worth itself. So I'll go through that with you quickly. There is a channel, and the reason that I bought this is actually Jaeger Precision. If you don't follow him, I'll put a link in the description below, but go and follow him. The amount of gas blowback knowledge that guy has is amazing, and I don't know how he spends so much money on airsoft, but he does, and it is a huge benefit to me and to a lot of other people, I think, in this space, because he's doing little breakdown videos. He's kind of giving his opinion, which I think is the most important thing. But he went through this, and I saw it, and I was like, look, this is something which I really like. It's got different mags, but actually it's, you know, it's your SIG or your more AR style controls. You know, you've got this kind of thumb controlled fire selector. It's a very similar kind of body, other than, you know, where you're actually putting that more 9mm style mag in here. So for me, I like that style. It's ambidextrous, so it's kind of more updated. It's got a large mag release button, and it's actually got this bolt release, which it's ambidextrous. It's got your standard bolt release right here, but I actually run a bad lever on my Mark 18, and it's kind of hangs down here, and I use that 99% of the time. So actually having the bolt release right here, I'll try and give you guys an idea of what that looks like. So if the bolt's held back there, let me get a good angle for you. If you literally just hit this, it's firing that bolt forward. Again, super snappy. It's so easy to go from mag release up to that bolt release. It's at a distance where it's not like you're clipping it accidentally or you're dropping a mag when you're doing it. I haven't done that. I'm sure that's possible. But it's something, when I saw it on his channel, I was like, I really would like one of those. And so I ended up buying it, and I actually ended up copying so many of the attachments that he put on there. So really, credit for this goes to Jaeger Precision, but I'll talk you through what I've done here, and I'll talk you through the pricing. So if you look at this and you say, hey, I'd quite like to build that, this is what it's going to cost you to do it, which is pretty crazy. So actually the handrail here is very similar to what it comes with, but this actually has, it's I think a 369. It's kind of got those different angles here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different angles of your M-lock. So it does have an extra, I believe, 2 on your, what is it, 369. It's kind of like your 5 and your 5 and your 8, 5 and your 7 o'clock kind of positions there. I liked this a lot more. George, let's try to bark and be annoying. George, hey, stop it, please. So that is something that I preferred. I think actually the hold of it's a lot nicer as well. But this is a real one from Midwest Industries, and it is an aluminium handguard, so incredibly light. And George, sorry, I'm ruining the video here for you guys with the dog barking in the background. But this is $145, so it's half the value of the actual replica, which is pretty crazy. This is actually a Magpul grip right here. It's a K2+. Again, I got this from Jaeger Precision, of something that he really liked. It's got this rubberized kind of finish on it, and it's very vertical. The actual grip that comes with it is fine. I didn't love it, but actually for bigger hands, this is perfect. And so I would recommend this anytime if you've got bigger hands. I absolutely love this grip. So I put this one on it. This is $25. This actually is not a replica SIG extendable stock. It's actually a real one. Now you can get replicas and repros of this pretty easily. You can order them from a lot of the sites which you can get these from, Octagon Airsoft, JK Army, but the real one is double the price. So this is about $300 to get this, so almost the price of the entire replica. And you can probably pick up a repro for about 100, 150. So I've actually got one of those on this, which I'll show you in a second, but it's very similar. I wouldn't say there's a huge amount of difference. The awesome thing with this is pushing the button, it literally will drop. If I do it vertical, it's going to drop it out. So you've got that kind of 2-point extension there, and actually if you drop it down this way, now I'm saying this, it's not doing it, but you can secure it very easily. You can put whatever stocks you want on this within that Picatinny extension. You can get the folding stocks, you can get the kind of, skeletonized stocks. So there's a lot of variability with this, but I went with the real one, so that's $300. And that's kind of, I think, the main exterior stuff that I put on here. Obviously, this is a suppressor or a mock suppressor that I put on here. You can get a lot of these as well, probably $30, but this is actually a tracer unit version. So it's got an Ace Tech AT2000R inside it. The reason that I put the tracer on it is because I use it indoors. And if it's dark indoors, having this with the actual tracer is a real advantage for me. I've got a light on this and I've got the tracer, so being able to see where that's going, I thought it was a lot of value. So that's about $70 to get it. You're putting another maybe 50, 60 in terms of the actual tracer unit inside it. So $100, $150 for the tracer. I know it's kind of adding up quite a lot. And actually this is a mod light. So this is a real one here with the pressure switch attachment and then the Surefire actual switch. That is going to be $300 for the mod light. Now, this is, I don't know if I can show you guys kind of the power of it. I'll try and use it here. You can see how bright that is. And again, it's real. So you could put it on a real steel. You could put it on any of your replicas. So I do think, replicas are great and obviously a lot less expensive if you break them, but there's a lot of value in just getting the real thing, resale value, etc. I think it can make a lot of sense. Obviously it's very expensive. And then the EOTech, which again is a real one, I can switch this between my replicas and I've got a lens protector on there. That's $600, so a huge amount of money, but actually the quality of this compared to a repro, I'll try and show you there. Get that in frame for you. There it is there. The quality of this is amazing. And what I would say is if you're looking at getting that compared to a repro, it's more like the eye relief on it so good. Like if I've got my eye here, I can see it. If I've got my eye over here, I can see it. And a lot of the repro ones, the actual window that you're seeing through without losing the sight is pretty small. So when I've got both eyes open, wherever I have this, I can pretty much see it, and I run that on a riser because I know when I've got my face protection on, it makes it so much easier just to have a riser in place on that. So that's kind of the externals that I have. I'm going to show you guys actually just a kind of dry fire, and I'm going to show you kind of the performance of it into this target right here, just so that you guys get an idea of why I love it so much when I'm using it. But I'm going to go through the pros and the cons after that. But I think you guys will like this, and I'm hoping this comes across on camera fairly well, so you can get an idea. This is an empty mag. There is nothing in this mag. So I'm going to show you the dry fire action. One thing is, if you are putting the mags into these, you almost want to find the front wall and then drive it in. Really kind of solid. I mean, not really solid. I'd say there is some movement there, but it's at a point where it's not annoying. The actual movement when it's in the replica, because it's such a light mag, is not an issue. And so I actually really like the mags, as I've said, and it's pretty solid. If you kind of put it in at a weird angle, which is possible with this magwell, you can just vent the gas. So that's not ideal. I don't really want to show that to you guys, but that's something to bear in mind. Now, when you rack this, obviously you've got the bolt lock right there where the bolt's holding it back. I can show you, that's the bolt release right there. And I'll show you here so you get an idea of what it is like. Here's the trigger. So that's going to be the bolt hold back because it's an empty mag. And I'll show you. So it gives a nice amount of recoil. It's just a really great feeling when you actually fire it. And I'll show you the full auto as well, because that is one of the things that I think is a big advantage on this. I never really use it full auto, the reason being that you've got 30 rounds in the mag and you're going to go through them pretty quickly. But if you want to use it, the rate of fire is pretty amazing. So I'll show you that to you guys now. Sorry, George is having an issue there again, and I just froze the screen, which is great. So yeah, so I think this is great for just kind of the response, and I'll show you this has got actual rounds in it, so I'll show you what it is like with the actual fire. I'm going to show you the semi here. I'll try and give you an idea of what that looks like without shooting my wall. And then I'll show you the full auto as well, which is... And then you've got bolt hold back. Incredibly realistic. I'm sorry, George, I know you don't like that, but you should be used to it now, because I actually do this quite a lot, and he should be used to the sound. He used to bark every single time, but that's now not happening as much. So guys, I'm going to run through quickly the pros and the cons. I absolutely love this thing, so I would recommend it. Pros I love is the trigger on it. Absolutely love that. It's probably my favorite thing about it. The recoil is super snappy and just feels great when you fire it. When I've given it to friends, they've really liked it. The rate of fire is amazing. Magazines are amazing. Build quality is really good. The movement between the upper and the lower is great. It's kind of got this little rubberized piece in here which holds it in the back, and that is... it really just, it kind of is harder to push it together, but there's no movement, so it keeps it so solid feeling. There is some movement when the stock is fully extended, but it's not too bad, especially with the real version. So I love the build quality. Obviously it's super compact. If you don't have the tracer on it, it's, you know, it's absolutely tiny, which is great. The weight of it is, you know, it's enough weight where it feels solid, but it's a lightweight PDW, so it's great. And the parts of this are really easy to find, so if you end up breaking a part, which I haven't done yet, you can go to, I believe WGC Airsoft have a huge amount of them, so that's a great place to just go and look if you're needing to replace anything. Sorry, I did do some internal upgrades as well, which I changed the inner barrel. Didn't need to do it, especially if you're using it close range and indoor, but I put a Prometheus 6.03 millimeter in here. That was probably about $30. Changed the hop-up rubber. That apparently is something people have issues with when they use it at range, is it can overhop BBs. I use 0.32s to 0.4s generally. If it's an indoor field, I'm kind of forced to use 0.25s where I play, but it's not going to matter with overhop as much because you're not shooting at as much range. But I found if you're using heavier BBs, the overhop really hasn't been an issue with me. The hop adjustment, which is just through here, is annoying because you've got to do it with an Allen key. That can be very sensitive. So I actually changed the hop-up rubber in here. I believe that's about $15. There's a buffer actually behind this shortened bolt. You can get one from Black Variable, which just has a little bit more rubberized kind of like points on it. So I think the longevity of it's going to be better. It's just going to protect the bolt a bit more. So I changed that. Again, not something I think you need. That was $7. And so obviously then I've got the attachments on it, but internally that's what I've done to it. I don't think that was necessary, and I haven't noticed a massive change in performance from it. And I have used it outside and I've used it inside. Now, cons of this, I think the trades are, you know, annoying that you don't have them, but you can get them. And the hop up, as I said, is apparently a bit finicky. I haven't had an issue with it, but apparently that is something that is an issue. I actually loved it so much that I ended up getting this. Now, I had all the mags, so it did kind of make sense of you know, having something else that I might want to use. And I actually bought this, which is the Copperhead Upper. I believe this is about $160 to get it. And this is a shortened monolithic version. So as you can see, like the actual size of it is tiny. And because I'd ordered that, and I actually had the Midwest Industries rail for this, and I preferred this, I saw on JK Army that they just were selling the lowers by themselves. I think that was about $125 just for a lower. And so I thought, you know what, I can basically build an entire other one just for an extra $125. This is a repro, what do you call it, stock. So that was about 100, but I basically managed to build a full extra MP5K for an extra $125, which for me was worth it. And what I realized, which is probably why they were selling these separately at JK Army, is this came with the actual trades on it. So if you're looking at, hey, how do I get the trades? I think they only have the DE version, which is why I went for that. But You can effectively buy a lower, and you may like this copper head upper more. I mean, it's very, very comfortable. I just prefer that style. Obviously, it has a lot more attachments. You've got 3, 6, and 9 M-LOK on this. And actually, I've got a Streamlight little... I mean, this actually is just perfect, because when you have your hand on this rail, it's just kind of positioned in a great way. And I've got an Ace Tech Bright R tracer on it. So this is something you could also do. I prefer that style, as I said, but it's very, very easy to customize this to do different versions. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up with that, and I'm going to just kind of... that's really annoying. That tracer unit keeps beeping and I can't really understand why. I'm going to wrap it up with that. But as I said, this actually is one of my favorite replicas at the moment. If you guys have any questions about it, please put it in the comments below. I'll try and put some links to the actual replica, but also some of the additional attachments that I've put on this, so you guys can have that. But if there is something, you're watching this video and you're like, hey, I want to get more information on that, just put a comment. I literally reply to everything. The channel's great and it's amazing, but I don't get a huge amount of comments, so I can definitely go through and answer everything. So I'm going to wrap that up, guys. I hope you are good wherever you are, and hopefully you found this interesting. My plan is to do this with a few more of the replicas that I have, because I do get into this state of mind where I just continue to build them out. I'm like, oh, you know, I've got this base. Oh, I want to put this sight on it. I want to put that on it. Oh, I don't want to switch them over in case I lose the zero. It's really bad, and I spend a lot of money doing it. So I have quite a few different replicas, which I'm very proud of and I like. So I'm going to hopefully make more videos if you guys think they're valuable to go through and talk about those. And if you do like them, please do let me know as well. Anyway, guys, I hope you're good wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.